representatives to the school board by members of the Superintendent's Advisory Group on Education. We call that SAGE, whose membership represents each of the 6 high schools within the district. Among her numerous activities, she has participated in indoor and outdoor track, the Spanish Honor Society, Project Inclusion, and Model UN. Ms. Ramirez, please come forward. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. This poem is called If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing yours and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you give your life to, broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Now, would you please join me in standing for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may now be seated.
Let's all give Mr. Ramirez another hand. Again, Mr. Ramirez, we thank you on behalf of the school board and the superintendent, and we welcome you to this board and look forward to your leadership.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Supporting Ms. Ramirez this evening is her family. Are they present? If they are, please stand to be recognized. Ms. Simons.
Okay. I'm her aunt.
And if any member from members from Mitchell High School that here, if they are in the audience, please stand. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to continue. I see back in the back we have a special group with us today. At one time I was a Boy Scout many years ago back in Pennsylvania. So here today joining our meeting in presence is Boy Scout Troop 158 from Hydewood Presbyterian Church. Is that correct? Would you young men please just stand up so you can be recognized? Thank you for coming out, and we're delighted that you're here. Moving on to our next agenda here on the board, board recognitions.
Well, tonight is a night of accomplishment, and we've got two schools that have accomplished something big and unique and very hard to do. And then we've got 2 groups of employees that have gone way above and beyond, and so it's our honor to say thank you to them and congratulate them tonight. So Ms. Price is going to help us, and we'll go down front.
I have the pleasure of presenting this month's honorees. The Virginia Index of Performance Awards recognize high-achieving schools that exceed state and federal accountability standards and achieve excellent goals established by the Governor and the Board of Education. Tonight, Newport News Public Schools is pleased to recognize Deer Park Elementary School and Hilton Elementary School for earning recognition in the VIP Award Program for advancing student learning and achievement. Deer Park and Hilton earned a 2017 Board of Education Excellence Award. To qualify for this award, elementary schools must be fully accredited, exceed federal accountability benchmarks in reading and mathematics, and have a significant number of students demonstrate advanced proficiency and proficiency on all standards of learning tests. Schools also earn bonus points for the percentage of students passing the 3rd and 5th grade reading assessment and participation in the Governor's Nutrition and Physical Activity Program. These awards represent a collaborative effort among educators, students, and families. Present this evening to accept the recognition on behalf of Deer Park School community are several members of the leadership team. Please come forward. Principal Mary Jo Anastasio. Assistant Principal Marilyn Clark. Kindergarten lead teacher Melinda McAllister. Second grade lead teacher Dr. Shelby Galt. Third grade lead teacher Wendy Lilliston. Fourth grade lead teacher Sherry Neerman. And fifth grade lead teacher Lori Morgan. We're also pleased to recognize the Hilton Elementary School leadership team for their efforts in earning a Board of Education Excellence Award. Accepting on behalf of their school community are Assistant Principal Jody Moore, Kindergarten lead teacher Susan Aylesworth, First grade lead teacher Heather Burnett, second grade lead teacher Heather Westheimer, third grade lead teacher Tricia Smith, fourth grade lead teacher Nolan Reinish. Reinish, thank you. Please excuse me. Reading specialist Joy Barkley. Oh, she came. Okay, I'm sorry. One additional Deer Park honoree, our resource lead teacher, Cynthia Jones. Please excuse me, Ms. Jones. My apologies. The students, staff, and families of Deer Park and Hilton continue to surpass state and federal benchmarks. Thanks to this dedicated team of educators, at Deer Park, 96% of students passed SOL tests last school year, 95% passed mathematics tests, 99% passed history, and 100% of students passed the science tests. At Hilton, 92% of students passed English SOL tests, 94% passed math, 98% passed the history SOL test, and 96% of all students passed science tests last school year. Deer Park and Hilton are among 145 schools in the state and of two of only 8 on the peninsula to earn the award this year. This is the 8th year that Deer Park has earned recognition in the program, and this is the 5th time that Hilton has earned recognition. Again, we wish the students and the staff and the families at Hilton and Deer Park congratulations on a job well done. Thank you so much. Newport News Public Schools Apprenticeship Program is a professional development and state certification program that combines on-the-job and classroom learning. During the 2-year process, apprentices gain a deeper understanding of their department's operations and how their work fits into the division's strategic plan and supports our students. The program is the only one in Virginia administered by a school division through the Virginia Department of Labor and Industries Apprenticeship Office. The customized courses enhance the apprentices' skills and talents. The school division has programs in 4 occupational areas: child nutrition services, custodial services, transportation, and clerical support. Tonight, we're honoring our first graduating classes in clerical support and transportation. Our graduates will receive a certificate of completion of apprenticeship from the State Council. Please join me in congratulating our clerical apprenticeship graduates: Arnita Blow, Karen Brown, Tanya Campbell, Jacqueline Jones Farabee, Faith Gilliam, Sylvia Gresham, Tracy Hart, Deborah Hextall, Melissa Lloyd, Tracy McCartney, Danette Miller, Kelly Sibley, and Gwendolyn Thorpe. Satrina Williams also earned her certificate, but she's unable to join us this evening. Thank you. Now we're going to add to this group because we're also honoring our transportation apprenticeship graduates. So please join me in recognizing our master bus drivers and our master assistants. Guinevere Andrews, Barbara Curtis, Jacques Germelis. I did that justice. Elizabeth Hensley, Dana Holston, Temple Johnson, Rosalind McCauley. Patrick Richards. Barbara Smith. Christina Temple. Jacqueline Washington. And Deborah Whittle. You can move on in. We're going to get your picture afterwards. Y'all can snuggle in a little bit. I wanted everybody to stand here so we can take a really good look at this group. There's a lot of dedication and effort that went into this 2-year process. These dedicated employees successfully completed a rigorous sequence of program requirements to earn a professional certification issued by the state. During the 2-year program, they completed 4,000 hours of coursework and on-the-job training in such areas as customer service, effective communications, English, math, Spanish, workplace technology, and leadership skills. The clerical apprentices also sharpened their skills in crisis training, public speaking, office management, and event planning. They had that class with me. That was good. And the transportation apprentices honed their skills in bus routing, dispatch training, key driver training, and many other areas. Thank you. That was supposed to be very dramatic for you. All planned, all planned. Again, congratulations on earning this. And we wish you all well as you move forward in your new jobs. Congratulations. Thank you. As our honorees return to their seats, I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge their supporters. Many of them have family and friends and colleagues joining them tonight. Would you please stand and be recognized? All the family and friends. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge, this was a team effort, so I would like to acknowledge the apprenticeship program leaders, Stephanie Hauts, our Director of Human Resources, Nina Farish, our Employment Relations Supervisor, Debbie Richardson, our Coordinator of Training and Development. Also joining us is Shay Coates, the Transportation Director. And I also want to acknowledge Kim Hinton, the school board clerk, who served as a clerical program advisor. Thank you, and again, congratulations on your graduation. At this time, we're going to take about an 8-minute break so that our honorees and the folks joining them can leave. If you choose to do so, you're welcome to stay. During this time, our viewing audience will have an opportunity to view this month's School Board Spotlight. So we'll stand in recess for about 8 minutes. Thank you.
To help inform, integrate, and inspire educators to use technology effectively in the classroom, Newport News Public Schools presented the first annual Innovate Technology Conference. For 2 days at Crittenden Middle School in the waning weeks of the summer, the NNPS Technology Department hosted an extensive collection of sessions to examine how technology can transform teaching and learning in Newport News. Attending Innovate was completely free for NNPS educators, with over 60 engaging sessions to choose from. These hands-on experiences were led by instructional technology coaches, teachers, technical support specialists, administrators, vendors, and featured speaker Nancy Blair Black. Attendees could also browse stations in the library in search of technological inspiration and learn more about instructional technology tools. Almost 500 teachers, staff, and administrators attended Innovate, with teachers having the option to gain recertification points for participating. Regardless of their technological know-how walking in, all attendees walked away with an impressive toolbox full of innovative lessons, helpful tips, and ready-to-go lessons to make technology an important tool for academic growth and success. When students don't come to school in the summer, educators at Lee Hall Elementary put in extra time and effort to bring the classroom to them. This summer, 20 Lee Hall teachers took turns hosting the Traveling Book Club on Monday afternoons to make great books accessible to students and families. Teacher volunteers set up the Traveling Book Club in 3 different neighborhoods where students are zoned for Lee Hall. Each site offered a variety of books, including picture books for younger readers and chapter books for older students. They also offered tasty snacks, encouraging the students to hang out and read for a while. Phone calls to Lee Hall families helped advertise the weekly book club. Over the summer, almost 100 families were able to bolster their home libraries with 300 new books from the Traveling Book Club. Some families even swapped books, taking new ones home and donating some of their favorites. The Traveling Book Club was a wonderful tool for teachers to stay in touch with Lee Hall families over the summer, while encouraging students to read year-round. It takes a special breed to join marching band. Long hours practicing in the summer heat, even more hours rehearsing new music, and adjusting movements late into the evening. But at those moments when melodic sounds blend with precision movement to form perfection, it's worth all the hard work. At 5 Newport News high schools, band directors, music staff, student drum majors, and teenage musicians worked together in the late summer weeks to build a superior performance. This work is put on full display during halftime shows at football games and continues into the competition season. Each marching band has their own style of marching, and it's the job of the talented band directors to prepare students to unite complex movements with uplifting music. For the young musicians, marching band reinforces many important life skills. Student musicians are responsible for learning their music, while section leaders and drum majors are developing practical leadership skills. And since a band performs as a whole, teamwork is emphasized in every performance. Auxiliary units, including dance teams and color guards, help add visual dynamics to the music being played. And with many weeks of practice already under their belts, our marching bands are in step for a successful school year. Every extra effort is a benefit for our students in Newport News Public Schools. Extra time for reading, extra help devoted to individual students, or extra supplies to enhance classroom instruction. Parents and community members can help supply that extra bit by financially aiding our schools through simple, everyday errands. When you're out shopping, keep your eyes open for Box Top for Education or Labels for Education logos on your groceries. Simply cut the box tops or the Labels for Education UPCs and beverage caps and have your child drop them off at school. It's that easy, and a huge benefit for our schools to receive extra funding and supplies. And while you're shopping, don't forget to use your reward cards in a smart way. Your Food Lion MVP card, Harris Teeter's Vic card, the Kroger Plus card, and other reward programs can be linked directly to the school of your choice. So when you buy everyday products, you're supporting your child's school. To link your reward card, visit the store's customer service desk for more information. Parents, make sure you pay attention to important dates when they're sent home with your child, and then help spread the word. Anyone can attend spirit nights at local restaurants, and most community days, carnivals, or festivals are open to the community. At these events, raffle sales, cakewalks, and other games can help a school raise extra money. Plus, they're fun events for the whole family. And you can help your school form a strong parent-teacher relationship by joining your local PTA. Membership fees alone can help a school with budget needs, and some schools even offer rewards for joining the PTA. PTAs are instrumental in organizing many fundraising efforts, along with seasonal options such as t-shirt sales or holiday craft fairs. Supporting your school is easy. A little bit of extra effort goes a long way to help ensure that our children have the best education possible.
Okay, welcome back. And I hope you enjoyed the school board spotlight. We're going to continue with our agenda. At this time, number 2, we have an opportunity for our audience to address the school board. These are scheduled at the earlier part of our agenda and then at the latter part of our meeting. The board considers this is an opportunity to listen to your comments. Please understand that we consider your concerns and we'll get back to you at a later time. And we do have a card. And so before we start, we have Mr. Robert Lincoln. He's here. Please come forward. And as you're coming forward, Mr. Lincoln, just want to let you know, please comply with our 3-minute limit. As you begin your comments, there will be a green light to come on. And then as you get near the end, a yellow light will signal, gives you 30 seconds. And then when the red light comes in, it's time for you to complete your statement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Good evening, members of the school board. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. My name is Robert Lincoln. I guess you got that. As you know, we use our schools to train students' minds and to some extent to train their bodies and for their physical well-being. We train their bodies with games or sports such as football, soccer, lacrosse, field hockey. These are well-established sports, but they come with some problems such as injuries and a substantial cost of equipment. These games also limit the skills that each player utilizes when playing. I want to introduce you to a new sport that will benefit most of the children and will cost the schools and the children almost nothing to play. And in this sport, it utilizes a lot of their skills. This sport is designed to eliminate serious injuries, reduce minor injuries, and eliminate the need for expensive equipment. The sport is called pole ball. That's spelled P-O-L-E-B-A-L-L. The sport utilizes each child's ability to run, throw, catch, kick, and work together with others on a team. The game of pole ball can be played in fields used for football, soccer, lacrosse, or field hockey. Then all you need are players and a soccer ball. The existing markings on these fields can be used to play pole ball, but the markings on a field hockey field are basically the best because they're almost the same as the rules require. The game can be played with all boys, all girls, or co-eds on co-ed teams. Making the sport a part of each school's program will give more students an opportunity to participate in team sports. As you know, many students are unable to make the team at schools, at the teams the schools now have. Adding pole ball as an option will give them another opportunity. So, those turned away could be playing pole ball. Those turned away from football, soccer, basketball, and field hockey are not or not wanting to play those sports can play pole ball. A more detailed description of the game of pole ball can be found on the website poleballworld.com. That's spelled P-O-L-E-B-A-L-L world, W-O-R-L-D. It's one word, .com. I'll leave a copy of the rules of the games for the board's use. I will also leave a copy of the modified rules for younger players and for those where there's a small limited space to play the game. I'm asking the board to consider the benefits of the game for the children and the athletic programs in the schools of Newport News, both middle schools and high schools. Then the board can recommend that the game be introduced to these students through the physical education classes and intramural programs. I will be happy to assist the schools in introducing the game to their students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Landy. Are there any other cards?
I have no more cards.
There being none, we'll continue with the agenda. Next item, number 3, we'll go to our consent agenda. Item number 3.01, our minutes from our regular session, August 15th, 2017. 3.02, the financial reports, revenue and expense reports, June and August of 2017, along with the child nutrition services. Item number 3.03, the personnel report. All those reports have been in your packages. If you have no questions on those, we'll move on to item number 3.04, the proposed revisions to our calendar.
Mr. Chairman, I move acceptance of the consent agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. You heard the motion? Call roll.
Mr. Ely? 4. Mr. Hunter?
4.
Ms. Simons? 4. Mr. Starchill?
4.
And Mr. Brown?
4.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, we'll move on to item number 4, action items, personnel actions.
Yes, we
Dr.
do
Kilgore.
have some tonight, so thank you. Tonight I have the honor to introduce some new faces in our central office as well as at our schools. So I'm going to begin first with Dr. Catherine Herman. Katie? All right. I want to recommend Dr. Herman to be our Director of Elementary Leadership, and you can stay standing up while I'm talking about you. She began her career in education in 1994 and has worked in Hampton and in Olive White and in Newport News, all as teachers and administrators. She got her bachelor's degree from Randolph-Macon Women's College, her master's from George Washington University in education, and her ed leadership doctorate from Old Dominion University. So it's a great honor and pleasure for me to recommend Katie to be our Director of Elementary Leadership. Thank you. Secondly, Ann Shoemaker. I'd like to recommend Ann tonight to be our elementary principal at Kiln Creek Elementary School. She is has been a longtime employee in Newport News since 2001. She began her career as a teacher and has been an elementary assistant principal for us. She has her a master's in teaching from Christopher Newport University and her education specialist from George Washington University. And so it's an honor for me to recommend Ann to be our principal at Kiln Creek Elementary School. Next, I'd like to recommend Tanya Falk as our special education supervisor. Tanya has been a part of Newport News Public Schools since 2007 as a special education teacher in our high schools, and then she became an assistant principal at Warwick High School, and she got her bachelor's from Hampton University, her master's degree from Regent University in special education, and her ed specialist in ed leadership from George Washington University. So it's a pleasure to welcome Tanya as our special education supervisor. And I'd like to recommend Jason Taylor as an assistant principal at Warwick High School. Jason has served in the Navy, and his career also included being a music director in Suffolk and in Chesapeake schools. He has a bachelor's degree in music, bachelor's and master's degree in music, and his administrative certification from George Washington University. So we want to welcome Jason to Newport News Public Schools, and I'm glad to recommend you to be the assistant principal at Warwick High School. And those are all the recommendations.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All opposed? Call the roll.
Let me hurry up. Mr. Ely?
4.
Mr. Hunter?
4.
Ms. Simons? 4. Mr. Stodchill?
4.
And Mr. Brown?
4.
Motion carries 5-0.
Again, welcome to your new positions. I know you have some outstanding things that you're going to do. Where great things are happening in Newport News. We're glad to have you, and congratulations again on your new positions. Okay, moving right forward. Item number 5, reports and information. We'll have Mr. Keith Webb is going to come up, and he's going to talk to us and have something for us about some power lines. Is that correct?
It has to do with power, yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chair. Vice Chair's not here. Members of the board, Dr. Kilgore. I'm bringing to you this evening a report concerning a request from Dominion Power for an additional easement. It's actually an expansion of an existing easement back behind here at Todd Stadium. It's to allow WHRO to put another antenna on the tower that's back there. So here's an aerial view of Todd Stadium. If you look over on the left-hand side, you'll see where the tower is. And you'll see where it says anchor. That's where the wire is going to originate before it goes to the tower. So this is a little more of a close-up. You can see the shot put area right there in the center of the picture. What they need to do is they need to relocate the red line a little bit so that this new wire going to the tower can go in. The fence will be relocated a slight bit because the new wire actually passes over the fence as well. All of it will, the work will be done by outside folks, no expense to the school division. And that's all I have to report. Any questions?
Any questions? Yes, Mr. Chairman, one question. Could you clarify what is a guy wire and what is the purpose of a guy wire?
Guy wire is one of those, it's an aluminum typically wire that holds poles vertical, so it supports the tower from the ground.
Okay, so in this case, the guy wire is to support the tower.
That's correct. And every time you add something else to the tower, you have to add another guy wire.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Webb. So we have in front of us a recommendation for the approval of this easement.
Next meeting.
Wait for next meeting.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Webb, for that meeting. Next coming forward on accreditation report, we'll have Mr. Bryan. Please come forward.
I've never received applause for an accreditation report, so thank you. Any questions? Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Kilgore, members of the board. It's exciting to come before you and deliver an accreditation report. Some of this will be information that was shared previously prior to the accreditation release, and then some new information about some of the work that will be going on this year. So let's start with our full accreditation trend. You can see going back to 2014, where we had 11 schools fully accredited, to where we stand now in 2017 with 21 schools fully accredited. The blue is the elementary trend. You can see the red is the middle school trend, and the green is the high school trend. So a lot of the work I'm going to talk about in the third section will focus on that red trend, because that's the trend line that does not go in the right direction and where a lot of our work is going to be this year. Some additional data points just for you to have. Maybe. There we go. We have 2 middle schools, so while you see the 1 fully accredited, you have 2 middle schools that will be partially accredited because of progress. So Gildersleeve there are lots of levels of partially accredited, and it gets really confusing. So the partially accredited for Gildersleeve is they're approaching benchmark. They're within 2 points. They're actually within 0.6 of a point away from being fully accredited. So they get that approaching benchmark. And then you have Dozier, which is partially accredited improving school because they're above benchmark in 3 subjects, and the 4th subject being English, they've made progress. They're in the 70s for. Sort of the sad news in all of this is we have 4 schools that are missing full accreditation by a single subject. So that's great news, but also disappointing news because we have more and more schools that are closer to being fully accredited, but 4 schools missing it by a single subject, 1 school missing it by 4 kids in a single subject. So that's the trend. So we have a nice trend line, but there's still work to be done. Some additional progress notes for Newport News Public Schools. We have more than 20 schools that are fully accredited. You've seen 21. For the first time, we have 15 schools that have received the General Assembly's 3-year accreditation status. And what that means for the next 3 years, those 15 schools can get basically 0 on every test, and they'll still be fully accredited. It gives us an opportunity to innovate. It gives us an opportunity to move beyond an assessment. So it's very exciting for those 15 schools to continue pushing and doing innovative things. I promise you they will not get a 0 on these assessments, but it just allows us to be creative. All high schools for the first time since 2010, as you know, are fully accredited. Heritage joining the group, so that is huge for our community. We have an accreditation denied school, which the Daily Press did an article on Jenkins, so you got to see that, going from accreditation denied to fully accredited. They're in rare company there. We now have 4 Title I schools that will be fully accredited. And as you honored tonight, you saw 2 schools earn the State Board of Education's Excellence in Education Award. So very excited about that. 2 additional notes that are important but not on there. We have 1 fewer priority schools than we did the year before. So priority is being in that bottom 5% of schools initially. We have 1 less school there, and we have 1 less focused school, being Lee Hall, because they've closed gaps in achievement. So on the state level, things improve, but also on the federal level, things improve. So excited about that progress in Newport News. So we've talked about accreditation, we've talked about progress. Let's talk about improvement. And what I'll show you is a model that we use to approach improvement in Newport News. So it really starts with our data. What are we worried about? What are we looking at? And we put it in 3 categories. So we have attendance, our ABCs of data. So we have attendance data, we have behavior data, and then course performance. Course performance could be grades, it could be scores, it could be SWL achievement, but it all falls into those. So the work we're doing this year is really about improvement, and it could go in 1 of 2 directions, and I'll take you to both of them. 1 is subject or grade level specific. So you'll see the division work we're doing around a specific subject or grade level. I mentioned 4 schools are missing in a single subject. We don't need to do whole school work at those schools. We just need to focus on a specific subject. Charles Elementary, for example, science would be the primary work. Their English scores are in the 80s and trending beautifully. And then we have other places where it's whole school work, and that work will look a little bit differently. So let me take you inside these. So we'll go here first. So let's look at subject or grade level. That is as amazing as my animations will get tonight. So, too far. So when we look at improvement by subject or grade level, we have a division approach, and then we have a complementary school level approach. And both of these work hand in hand. It's one of the things that makes Newport News unique, is it really is that side-by-side, hand-in-hand approach. So at the division level, what most of the work of the summer has been is working on curriculum revisions. So with subjects or grade levels that we've seen that need more improvement, we've really looked at where does the curriculum support those specific things. Professional development is a huge part of the work that we do. So how are we getting teachers smarter? When you ask how do we improve schools, it's going to be on teacher talent. So smart is something you become for adults and kids. How do we get everybody smarter? And then we really rely on teacher coaching. So teachers working side by side with other teachers, whether it's in a model classroom where you can come see other teachers teaching, or our teacher coaches going out and working with other teachers. So that's the division level improvement. On the school level, it really comes to play in these content or grade level meetings where we're working on how do we implement the curriculum. That's where teacher leadership, that third bullet, really comes in hand. We have strong coaching, but we also have strong teacher leaders who are leading at the building level. And then while we have professional development for the school division, we also have school-based development, so we can tailor it to what does Hines really need, which may be a little bit different than what Dozier really needs. So we have both of those levels working hand in hand. So while we do subject or grade level, we also have school level improvement. We have some schools where we're working across multiple grade levels, multiple subjects. So that's a little more intensive and will look a little bit different. Possibly. Thanks, Michelle. I don't know what's going on. So with improvement by school, once again, you see that division level, school level, complementary approach. Each one of this series would happen within 9 weeks. So it starts at the division level with school-based walkthroughs. That's where we focus on a particular school or department within a school, and we send our very best and smartest curriculum folks. Dr. Kilgore and I also join those walkthroughs and are part of them to see what we're seeing across schools and to make recommendations. We have division-led professional development. That's where we bring the professional development right to the school and work with the entire staff. So it's specialized for that school. The nice part about having 43 schools is you have 40 difficult part is you have 43 different things you're working on. So to give everybody the same thing would not be best practice. It's not best practice for kids. It wouldn't be best practice for adults. So then within the 9 weeks, we're doing data conferences with our supervisors. So what are the trends they're seeing across school on unit assessments, on attendance data, on behavior data? So looking at all those data points. And then meeting with principals and assistant principals and school-based leadership about progress. How are we making progress? We don't want to be in the position ever to not know where we're going to be at the end of the year. So we're really looking at it along the way at the division level. So at the school level, you have a parallel universe that's going on where the administrators and the leadership team and lead teachers are really doing those observations and providing feedback to teachers. The school-based professional development, which we talked about, and then meeting with teachers and teacher leads about their data and what they're seeing across their classrooms, each group, each level. And then doing the same sort of progress meetings with their lead teams. So really running the same sort of improvement cycle, both at the division level across schools that need it, and then within the school, so that we're really doing the same kind of work that really complements. A couple of additional progress initiatives that I wanted to make note of. We've been working hard on the data front because that's going to drive everything we do. So we have updated dashboards and data reports that we get in real time. So every day you can see how attendance benchmarks are going by school, by grade, by kid, and also student discipline, and then the academic data when kids take units and assessments and all of those pieces. We also have our quarterly benchmark assessments, but we've really updated these dashboards and data reports so we get a day by day by day, because waiting till the end of a quarter may be too late. But we have both of those stops along the way. So if our data tells us we need intervention, we have dedicated intervention blocks at every level. They look different at elementary than they do at middle and high, but they're dedicated intervention blocks that are taught by expert personnel. So our best people in reading, math, science, so forth, are the ones providing that intervention in that dedicated time. So we have the structure of the time plus the smart people that kind of make those happen. And then in our ever-growing extended learning venture, we're excited to expand the extended learning work we're doing, specifically at the schools that need to make the most progress. They're either involved in our We Leap after school and Saturday program. We've expanded that to more schools. And then we were just awarded 8 21st century community learning grants. 4 for our middle schools and 4 for our elementary schools. So within those 2 programs alone, we're expanding extended learning to 18 schools throughout the year and providing a more comprehensive approach to extended learning, which will have a huge payoff for kids because time matters and we're providing more time for kids. So I talked you through the accreditation piece, where we are with accreditation, some of the important progress notes, but then really wanted to highlight the work that we're going to do this year around improvement, so that when we give this report next year, we're able to show that same sort of trajectory to have more schools and more progress. So the model's there. Thank you for your time this evening. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Mrs. Simon?
So with the 21st Century Learning Grant, is that middle school or is it also elementary?
It is both. So we did a unique partnership with Alternatives Incorporated. Technically, a school division is allowed 4 grants, but if you have an outside partner, the outside partner has 4 and we have 4. That's a loophole in the rules that the state and federal government plans to close after us this year. But we're in. We have 8 schools. We're very excited about it. So we have.
How much money did we get?
I'll get you that specifically, but it's over the course of 3 years, and it's a lot of money to do some great work with kids. But I'll get the board the exact dollar figure. That combined with our $2.6 million extended learning grant that we just received, combined with everything else we do, we've just kind of scratched the surface, even though it's a 7,000 kid surface at this point, with what we're going to do with extended learning. But I'll get that for you.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, a question around the subject grade level versus school.
Yes,
and
sir.
just interested to know at some future time which schools are in that subject grade level category management, and which ones are in the school category
Absolutely.
management.
And just to give you a quick example on the subject, elementary science, 5th grade science across the state went down, but in Newport News especially. So that's something we're looking at no matter what the school's accreditation status is. So that would be an example of that. On the school level, I think even though they had some good gains last year, schools like Sedgefield and Newsom Park, where we're not quite hitting the benchmark in certain subjects, it's more school-based work. The nice part about elementary school is that 3rd grade teacher teaches all 4 things. So it's really about teacher coaching and content. That's also the difficult thing, because they have to be experts in English, math, science, that piece. Whereas at the middle school level, it's really working primarily with our comprehensive literacy plan, working with our English teachers at most of the schools, because that's really the barrier for the state in middle schools, but also for Newport News. But yes, we can certainly put that together.
And the other question was just in regards to the practices that will be implemented this year. Looking forward to, would appreciate the frequency by which we're going to be implementing those practices. So at some point in the future, knowing how many times we did each one of those practices across the division.
Absolutely. And our real-time live dashboards are it's a huge win for administrators, for teachers, for central office folks, because we can make those adjustments in real time. But absolutely, we can do that.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Stachel.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Nichols for bringing this report and the good news of what was done last year forward tonight. Over the years of being on this board, I've watched as requirements have increased and the standards have been raised and become tougher. And I think that it's taken great courage to face that and to face it straight and realize that this is really a commitment to make sure that all children get up to a strong level where they can be citizens, they can be college ready, and they can walk into their future confidently. And the work's not done. And in this industry, the work will probably never be fully done.
Absolutely, I agree.
But the progress that you demonstrate here, I think, is very powerful, and it's come at a great effort over many years. One of the things that I've continually been struck by is if you raise standards and you ask our students to accomplish more and graduate with stronger skills and stronger understanding of subject matter, that's one thing. But when you ask the students to get to that level, you're also asking the teachers to regroove what they're doing. You're asking everybody in our whole program here, all the way up to the administration, it's not just asking one thing of students. It's asking a big, tall thing, for all of us. And that is the tough part of this business, is that you've got to re-engineer, and you've shown that, there are new mechanisms in place that the administration brings. There are a whole round of interactions going on with teachers, with principals, with students. And I see, as a business person, I see that you've brought the very kinds of interactions that we in the business world find are essential in improving performance. So I think tonight we're able to see the benefits of many years of applying good practices, and we're getting there. So I
Thank you.
bring that credit out because I see it. Thank you.
Any other questions? There being none, thank you, Mr. Nichols. Next, we'll have come up Ms. Susan Tilley, and I believe she's going to bring a host of individuals to give us a report on youth development.
Yes, sir. A whole crew this evening. Hello. It is a pleasure to be here to share with you an update about our work in the area of youth development. We have three different things that I've lost my clicker. Three different areas we'd like to discuss with you this evening. We'll begin with how our students are standing out as leaders and becoming involved in clubs, sports, and activities at their schools. Next, we'd like to update you on our STAND movement and our bullying prevention efforts. And finally, we'll close by sharing an update on the choices that our students are making and how we're responding to those, or more simply, school discipline. So in all three cases tonight, as we go through each portion of the presentation, we're going to begin by sharing data points from last school year so that you can see how things wrapped up in 15-16, and then we want to share with you things we already have planned for this upcoming school year. As you listen to the presentation, I'm confident that two themes are going to emerge. One is that so much has been accomplished and we have so much to be proud of, but the second is that there's still much more work to be done, as Mr. Stodchill just so wisely shared. So at this time, I'm incredibly proud to turn the presentation over to this dynamic team of Bridget Adams, Jerron Ransom, and Tracy Pope, a few of our go-to youth development experts. Bridget?
Good evening, good evening. As Ms. Tilley mentioned, we've worked a lot this year on really trying to make sure that there are opportunities for all of our students to feel connected at our school division. We finished the year 16-17 with 82% of our students, our secondary students, being involved in at least one club, sport, or activity. So that includes 84% of high school students and 78% of our middle school students were involved in a club, sport, or activity. And we think that that's really amazing. And even in our elementary schools, although eye care is a part of the curriculum, many of our elementary schools have also branched out and begun to offer exciting extracurricular activities for students, such as the engineering club at Kiln Creek, which I got to sit in with, and then a new club, the Secret Service Club at Riverside, which sets out on a new mission every month to serve the homeless, elderly, or animals in need. So the teachers are really working hard, even in our elementary schools, to diversify what students have access to. So at the end of 2015-16, we had about 206 unique clubs, activities, and sports for student involvement at our secondary schools. With the help of creative staff and community partners, we were able to add 94 new ways for students in our middle and high schools to get connected. Of course, many of these options, like football and STEM clubs and band, are available at most of our schools. So when you consider all of the ways that students could get connected in our middle and high schools, more than 11,000 middle and high school students participated in over 700 diverse activities. So that's pretty cool. While we continue to make gains in the number of students participating, we want to emphasize the importance of participation and also early engagement in student involvement. So for the first time ever, next week, we'll kick off the year with a week-long division-wide event called Get Connected Week. I'm pretty excited about this. So beginning next Monday, September 25th, schools across the division will present a variety of fun and informative activities designed to encourage student involvement. In addition to traditional club fairs and ways of connecting with students, schools will use social media, morning broadcasts, and creative recruiting strategies to ensure that students and their families, because that's very important, know which clubs and activities are available, and most importantly, how to connect to them. None of this would be possible without the leadership of our students and involvement of our students. And their involvement in this work is really critical to our success, which is why I'm excited to talk about another first. Last weekend, for the first time, we hosted the Newport News Public Schools Student Leaders Retreat, which we aptly entitled Impact 2017 Legacy Leadership. And we held this at the Jamestown 4-H Educational Center. And the retreat itself was made possible in part by a grant from the Community Nights organization. I just want to acknowledge Ms. Jennifer Brown, who is representing Community Nights tonight, because it wouldn't have been possible without Community Nights. But 22 amazing, most extraordinary high school student council association presidents, vice presidents, members of the citywide student government executive board, and other school leaders. We had a really diverse group of students came together for a weekend of information sharing, reflection, but most importantly, strategic planning. So they discussed Newport News Public Schools priorities. They talked about school culture. They talked about student perspectives about what matters most to students. And at the close of the experience, they committed to serving as the 2017-2018 Newport News Public Schools Citywide Student Council Association. They voted for a renaming of the initial citywide student government because they wanted to help their fellow peers have a better understanding of their mission and purpose. And I'm so excited that a few of them are here tonight. I'm going to ask them to stand. You guys could stand. And I really want to thank them for being here, because they could be a lot of other places, but they really wanted to be here to show their commitment to making an impact in the school division this year. Thank you, guys. A little bit about what they did over the weekend. After learning about SMART goals, action plan development, and reviewing climate surveys, I should change this, that would help. Thank you. In climate surveys, they identified 3 key focus areas on which they want to concentrate this year. First, they're going to help us create more opportunities of interest to students, things that students really want to be involved with. Next, and I thought this was really great, they want to find ways to promote overall student well-being. And they feel like to do that, they really want to empower students, their peers, with tools and information to achieve social, emotional, and physical well-being. And I thought that that was really powerful. Finally, they were excited to learn about the principles of growth mindset while on the retreat, and they believe that the same training and messages that have been shared with teachers and staff really needs to be offered to students as well. They really feel that that's going to empower all students, including their younger middle school and elementary school peers. So they have boldly accepted the challenge to lead that work. So it was really an amazing weekend, and I was so inspired to see all that they did. So thank you again for being here. As you can see, we're really excited about the work that we're doing to get students connected and to stand out as leaders. Now I'd like to share with you our second topic, which highlights how we've been working for a full year now, encouraging students to stand up for each other and to discourage harassing behaviors. So we have some good news to report. Across all grades K through 12, we ended the school year with a decrease in physical harassment of 14%. We did, however, experience an increase of 6% in reported bullying incidences. But it should be noted that this represents an increase of 5 additional incidences over the previous year. Because of the extensive work that has been done in all of our schools as part of the STAND campaign, including assemblies and kindness campaigns and a myriad of other activities, we believe that the increase is really because of the repeated emphasis and placed on raising awareness and reporting bullying when it occurs. We also believe that if we continue to involve students in this work of creating and maintaining positive cultures, the number of bullying incidences will decrease. When we talked last year in the spring about STAND, when we talked last year about the STAND movement, we emphasized how it had to be a student-led movement, and it really was a unifying message to help our students, our faculty, our staff, and most importantly, our families and communities understand what our expectations were for creating more respectful school climates, and also for discouraging harassing behaviors. So the STAND movement remains active and alive and in full effect, and we were excited to kick it off just this August with the 2nd annual Youth Development Resource Fair and Back to School celebration. And it's important to note that this initiative is designed to connect Newport News Public Schools families and youth-serving community partners that provide important services such as mentoring, recreation programs, health services, and other youth development programming, which supports our efforts. I'm not touching anything. Oh, sorry. Supports our efforts to reduce the likelihood of negative behaviors. So this is just a look at some of the great things that we did. It was a great way to start the school year off. We had over 90 community partners participate. We were able to give away over 1,300 school supply bags. And one of the greatest attractions were the door prizes. We gave out a Chromebook and over, I think, 7 $100 school supply, back to school shopping sprees from Patrick Henry Mall. And I was really proud that 61 youth volunteers, students, came out to help us stuff backpacks and actually worked in the heat with us that day to make sure that everyone had a great time. And the event closed with a great concert by our popular local band, Slap Nation. Finally, as we did last year, all of our schools have been encouraged. Thank you. All of our schools have been encouraged to develop a calendar of activities in recognition of National Bullying Prevention Month. So we will once again celebrate Stand Day on October 2nd. All of our teachers, staff, and students are encouraged to wear blue to demonstrate their solidarity and commitment to stand against bullying behavior. And we invite you all to stand with us that day as well. Of course, the work doesn't stop in October. We have student groups, students, staff, community partners, and families who will continue to work together with us to address the issue of bullying. And with regard to our work to encourage positive student behaviors and outcomes, Mr. Ransom will now come and share some information on discipline.
Thank you, Ms. Adams, for sharing with us about all of the work that our students and staff have done and continue to do to promote a positive school climate and culture. In youth development, we truly believe that the purpose of discipline is to educate and to create an environment in which students are likely to behave and learn. We have some good news to report. Our overall incidence for 16-17 decreased by 12%. That means the number of students meeting with school administration and receiving a disciplinary consequence was down over the previous year. Whenever possible, we encourage school administration to utilize alternative measures other than out-of-school suspension when dealing with student discipline. Before you is a sample list of often used alternatives to suspensions in our division. I would like to highlight one in particular, and as you will see, intermittent ISS, commonly known as timeout, saved us 10,187 hours of instruction. That is a 50% increase over the 15-16 school year. Not only are we delighted to see a reduction in the overall volume of incidents, we were also pleased that our number of short-term suspensions decreased. Both 1 to 5 day suspensions and 6 to 10 day suspensions decreased 17% and 10% respectively. When students are suspended out of school short-term, they are given the opportunity to participate in one of our short-term suspension programs, which is offered in partnership with local community organizations. Each site is staffed with a teacher who works with the students to maintain their academics while they are out of school. Students are also encouraged to reflect on their behavior. At most sites, students are able to take advantage of additional supports such as mentoring, character building lessons, and family supports. This year, we welcome 2 new programs, the Exit Program and Youth Empowerment Program, to our short-term suspension program offerings. Another indicator, 10-day suspensions decreased by 14%, and long-term suspensions, which is more than 10 days and less than 365 days, decreased by 22%. Unfortunately, there are a handful of our most serious infractions that require an expulsion. But fortunately, we are given the latitude to modify those expulsions so that no student in Newport News Public Schools is ever sent home to wait 365 days to receive schooling. We modified 44 expulsions last school year. We work really hard to make sure that our students are provided alternative options when they are suspended long-term from school. Our CAMP program, which serves our students who have offenses with drugs and alcohol, Enterprise Academy, Homebound Services, and the South Morrison Credit Recovery Program, are available when students are long-term suspended. Now, while we are pleased to see reductions in our discipline and suspensions, we remain focused on our goal to create more respectful school climates and empower students to make better choices. In an effort to extend this work, I'm delighted to welcome Tracy Pope, our restorative practices specialist, to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Ransom, and good evening to each and every one of you. I'm most certainly excited as the newest member of our youth development team. I'm excited to be able to speak to you tonight on our restorative practices. So why restorative practices for Newport News? Traditionally, a rule is broken and a punishment is given. However, yet oftentimes students return to class with the similar behaviors and things have not changed. This cycle has not proven to be effective. So restorative practices allows us to shift our focus from schools and rules that have been violated to the relationships that have been violated between people. So let's take a look at the definition of restorative discipline. The focus has traditionally been on students who have broken the rule. However, restorative practices allow us to shift our focus to the harm that is done to the relationships, as well as assist students in making better choices. Restorative practices also assist us with direction on how to repair damage caused by the negative behavior. Ultimately, our goal is to simply make things right and provide students with every effort to repair the poor choices and fix the poor choices that they make and improve the responses that we give after making those poor choices. Restorative discipline transforms conflict by repairing the relationship damaged by those negative behaviors. I love this here that shows us how our traditional approach in comparison to our restorative approach. Traditional approach speaks to the rules that have been broken. For example, if you have a school food fight, there are many members of that school that have been affected by that food fight. You have custodians, you have security officers, you have faculty and staff that have to come in and have to clean up that area, and you have students that are also been affected. So what restorative practices does, it allows us to bring these students together, the victim, the offender, and the community, all coming together to repair what has been done. So you take all of those that have been harmed by this situation and you have some form of a mediation, whether it be a restorative circle or just a coming together, and we discuss things because we want to simply make things right. In efforts to make things right, we come to a conclusion, and we come to that conclusion by we all agreeing what the discipline will be after the conclusion has been drawn. Once that discipline has been come up with and collectively understood and collaboratively come up with through the victim, the offender, and those that have been affected throughout the community, then therefore that's what the discipline will be for that student. We're not doing away with anything that we have in place. It's just another way to look at how we do discipline. We're not doing away with suspension or things of that nature. However, we want to change the mindset on how we think about how we repair things and simply make things right. Because oftentimes we're not making things right by sending them home and they're returning with the same behavior. So this is another effort that we want to utilize. And there's various things that we can utilize in the restorative practices to assist us in making things right. I'm certainly excited about the opportunity of growing and learning together as we train toward implementing these efforts this year for Newport News Public Schools. Thank you for your time.
Well, thanks, Tracy. So I hope you found my prediction to be true. I hope those two themes emerged very clearly, that lots of progress has been made. We have many things to be proud of and to celebrate, but still much work remains to be done. And we are prepared and committed and excited to make that happen. We, of course, will look forward to returning to you throughout the school year and bringing updates as these things unfold. If you have any questions at this time, we'll do our very best to answer them.
Any questions? Mrs. Simon?
I just want to compliment you all. That was a really great presentation, and I'm really excited about the restorative practices. I think that restorative justice is a really important movement for our entire country, really, when we look at any kind of criminal justice reform or anything, and to see you guys bringing that down to the discipline level, I just think is really innovative, and it's just another example of how innovative I think our school system is to be bringing those practices into our school buildings. So thank you so much for that great presentation.
Anyone else? Mr. Brown?
I'd like to say I'm also very encouraged by the significant progress that has been made, and a lot of, I think, leaps forward in terms of the restorative practices, the reduction in the number of suspensions and gains in instructional hours is very encouraging. And I welcome you to the new position. Looking forward to hearing more from you as the year progresses as to how restorative practices being implemented. A couple of questions that I had in regards to the one was in regards to the bullying and harassing behaviors and that particular metric. I just wanted to find out what's the procedure for determining when this behavior has occurred, and how do we measure that? What is the standard by which it's measured? So I'd be interested to find that out.
The bullying incident?
Yes, bullying incident, yes.
We tried to, if Michelle will help me go back to the slide about bullying and harassing behaviors. Lots of times, a student, a staff member, or a family member will report to us that there's been a problem, between and among kids, and we set out to investigate that and see what needs to be done. And often you'll find that they're simply harassing behaviors. They're teasing each other, they hit each other, those harassing behaviors we have listed here. To meet the definition of bullying, it's actually a little bit more complicated. That's just the term we all kind of use informally, but really to meet the definition of bullying, it has to be an unwanted behavior that's repeated over time. There has to be some sort of power imbalance between the students, and it does even include our cyberbullying. That's a little bit different definition. We don't want anyone to get hung up on the definitions. If somebody's bothering you and there's unwanted behaviors, we want the students to tell us, we want the teacher to tell us, or we want the family members to let us know. We'll take care of it no matter which category it falls into. We'll do our best to make things right, as Tracy said, and to respond. But that's actually the technical differentiation between the two. So.
And then the other question was just around it's a great thing, we have the short-term suspension programs that are available. How does a community organization become eligible to apply to become a short-term?
Call our office. Okay. Call our office. That's how we got these two extra groups. They reached out. We had a meeting. We started talking and brainstorming what could we do, and boom, we've got two extra groups with us this year. So just call Youth Development Office. We're happy to help them.
And as far as transportation, a bus will take the student to the area.
Actually, Jerron helped me. Several of them have transportation. A couple of them don't. It's different by program.
We have several schools who provide transportation. Right now, 3 of the 5 provide transportation to and from the sites. And our new program, we're happy to have the Youth Empowerment Program, which is a division of Newport News Juvenile Justice. They not only pick the kids up no matter where they live in the city, but they also provide breakfast, lunch, and other family supports as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? There being none, Ms. Tilley,
Thank you.
and your host presenters, what a phenomenal reports that we heard today. Thanks again for a job well done. Okay. Okay. In your reports, board members, there was a construction report. Was there any questions? There being none, we'll move on to comments from the superintendent.
All right, thank you very much. I want to start out with thanking families, students, teachers, all of our staff for a great opening of the school year. It was exciting to be back. We saw so many things in every school. I was lucky enough to go on the first day of school with members of the school board to visit several schools, and we really the cheerleading, the excitement of the kids and their families, the number of pictures that were taken that day probably puts the internet out of business. I mean, it was just really an exciting opening day, and we'll continue throughout the year to give you reports about what our students are doing in their pursuit of college, career, and citizen readiness, and what our results are in Newport News. But I just think we had a great start. Got some good news tonight. 6 of our schools have been recognized as Virginia Naturally Schools for supporting in the environment, conservation, and stewardship of the environment. We've got, let me name the schools for you and congratulate their students and staff. We've got Deer Park Elementary, Discovery STEM, Marshall Early Learning Center, Nelson Elementary, Sedgefield Elementary, and Booker T. Washington. So this is the largest number of schools in Newport News to ever receive this acknowledgement from the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries. So we're pretty excited about that. Tonight is our high school back to school night, so I really can't encourage you to go because you should be there. So, but we do on Thursday night have our middle school back to school night. So I want to remind families, next Tuesday night, thank you very much. Next Tuesday night on September 26th at 6 o'clock at your middle schools. So go to your child's middle school with your children. You can meet the teachers. You can learn more about our curriculum, learn all about what college, career, and citizen ready looks like at our middle schools. So that's middle school back to school night next Tuesday night at 6 o'clock at each middle school. Now, this is what's on Thursday night. I knew there was something on Thursday night. On Thursday night, for all the high school families and the high school students, we have a financial aid information night from 6 to 7:30. It's going to be hosted at Warwick High School. So if you're interested in financial aid and how to fill out all the forms and what questions to ask and get information about grants and loans and scholarship, Thursday night is one night that you can go to Warwick High School and learn about that. We also will have other college readiness and financial aid workshops throughout the year, so this is not your only opportunity, but it is the first opportunity of the year. A pretty neat thing, we're going to partner again with our Health Heroes organization to offer all of our students in Newport News a free flu shot, just what they want. But it's a good idea to do this. So you have to have a consent form that's filled out by your family. So get those from schools. You can get them at the clinic at your school, and the clinics, the flu shot clinics, will begin in early October. So that's a great opportunity for kids to stay well and to keep their attendance perfect in Newport News Public Schools. So thank you all, and we're going to have a great year. I'm really looking forward to the work that we're going to do together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kilgore. We'll move on to item number 6. Another time for the public to come forth with comments to the board. Do we have any cards?
I have no cards.
There is none. And we'll move on to item number 7, matters by the school board. And we'll start off with our newest representative from the school board, Ms. Ramirez.
Thank you very much. As Dr. Kilgore said, there is the back to school night tonight. So obviously our high schools are doing a lot to make sure that students are prepared for the coming school year. Another thing that was very successful was we had the freshman orientation recently, and that went really well. We had a really great turnout for that. So thanks to the NNPS faculty and staff, we were able to make sure that students were able to come into class knowing where to go, especially if they were freshmen or new students just coming into high school. They had already met their teachers, they had already gone to the classroom, so that was really great. Another thing is that the Student Advisory Group on Education is currently recruiting members. Our first meeting is in October. So we have sent out applications to all the high schools and are working to recruit members for the coming school year.
Thank you, and again, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Brown.
All right. Well, school year is definitely in full swing. Tonight, I'm very encouraged. This is a very exciting report, exciting time. We see that we have risen to the challenge of decreasing suspensions and increasing the amount of time that kids are spending in school. See a lot of youth and leadership development. Very encouraging to see our youth out here taking part in leadership activities. And then as well, the number of fully accredited schools. It's amazing to think of the progress that has been made. When I first took office, there were 11 schools fully accredited. In the 4 years' time that I've been here on the board, we're now almost doubled the number of fully accredited schools. So a tremendous amount of progress that was made in a short period of time, and it's just very encouraging to see the hard work that's going in, and that the hard work is paying off and getting results. I like us to continue to focus on math. I still always believe that the math intervention that we've been doing is making a real difference, and I want us to continue to press forward with that. As well, the American Mathematics competitions that we've talked about, I want to continue to press forward with those things because I believe that they are making a real difference. And then is also, we talked about back to school night. I apologize to my own kids that I couldn't be there with them. They were disappointed that I couldn't be there with them at back to school night. But I encourage everyone to go, and middle school night is coming up on the 26th, and it is really important for you to go. That relationship community that you build with your teacher, understanding what your child is doing in school, is really critically important to the middle school success. So we talk about the first thing, what can the community do, what can you do that will make a difference in accreditation for middle schools next year? Go to your child's back to school night. And when you approach me and talk about accreditation, you want more accredited schools, I'm going to ask you, did you go to your child's back to school night? If the answer should be yes if you want to see more accredited schools. As well, we've invested and made the resource available, ParentView. It's really a valuable resource that wasn't around when I was a kid and my parents would have me in school, that even if you're unable to get to the school on a more consistent basis or talk to the teacher, you're able to see what your assignments your child is doing, where all their grades are. There are grades that are in the books right now in ParentView. So now is the time to look in ParentView and see how your child is doing, and if your child needs additional help or needs some additional support in a particular subject area, now's the time to go and do that. So please take advantage of the resources that are available, and if you don't know how to download or use ParentView, go see your school building coordinator so you can get access to that app. So,
thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Simons.
I just want to piggyback on that. I'm really proud of all the progress that we've made in Newport News Public Schools on our school accreditations. But really what makes me prouder is that this school system didn't decide that we were just going to drill and kill and just go for broke on having kids prepare for every single test. Instead of teaching to the test, we decided we were going to focus on youth development. And we see that all the time in these wonderful students who come to our meetings and the Boy Scouts who visited us this evening. And I just really want to encourage all of our students out there to take advantage of these youth development opportunities that we give you. When we decided to make an effort in terms of youth development and bullying, we shot it back to the students to say, hey, what are you going to do with the STAND initiative? What are your ideas? You guys take initiative. And this allows you to be leaders in your community. So especially for our new school-wide city council, what great things are you going to do? Because this is your chance to have things to talk about when you apply for college or you apply for scholarships or the military, whatever. We want you to be leaders, and I just have to say that's one thing I'm really proud of our school system for.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Simon. And Mr. Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just excited about all the great positive things that's going on with Newport News school system. More excited about how we are getting kids ready for career, citizen, in his life, and college ready. We have so many kids now. I believe it was 2007 was 31% in clubs and activity. We're all the way up to 82% now. That's very huge. We're making sure our kids are ready, not just for school, they're ready for life. Mm-hmm. That's building up their social skills, that's building up their everyday skills, because you have all the sense in the world, but if you don't have no social skills, I don't know how far you're going to get. So by making sure our kids are ready for society and making sure they're able to deal with other people is huge. I also want to thank Refugees Church in New Beach Grove, where they did a hurricane relief effort for all the families that's in Houston, Texas. My heart goes out to all those families. Just watching the news is so sad, seeing how so many kids out of school supplies, families out of clothes, and more of that, families that are out of homes. So we filled up a 17-wheeler tractor trailer and we sent it to Houston this past week to those families. We are still collecting items at New Beach Grove Church with Reverend Maxwell. So if you have any gently used items, any items period, they still accept the donations. We want to send another tractor trailer, 17-wheeler, to Houston to help out those families. I also enjoyed the JV varsity football game at Warwick High School yesterday. They beat those Bethel Bruins really bad.
Wait a minute.
Warwick High School, I was so excited just to see, it kind of started off kind of shaky. And it turned into a really intense game to a beatdown. So I definitely want to give big congratulations to Warwick High School JV game. And I also had the opportunity to attend the Southeast Day Parade and the Demi Day Parade. Very nice festivals. Great job to both of those. And a special thanks to everyone who came out to my back to school event. We had over 2,200 people to come out. We gave out only 700 book bags and ran out, but we do first come, first serve, so the kids enjoy it. Special thanks to the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity from HU, Omega Psi Fraternity from HU, and Newport News Park Recreation, and all the volunteers that helped to make that event a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ely. Wow, I'm not sure if I have anything left to say. I am going to start off again with a great, Jeff, Mr. Stargell. How can I forget you, my friend?
That's fine. Thank you, Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Stargell, please, the floor is yours.
Well, I just want to join the other board members in calling attention as well as congratulations to the superintendent, to Brian Nichols, Susan Tilley, and the whole leadership group. You finished the year strong last year. You held your heads high. You gave us a goal to shoot for. Worked hard, and you made great progress over the summer in expanding, our Spark activities. And now we have started the year, very well, very strong, with a good, swift beginning. I don't think people understand how hard it is to kick the year off and get it going smoothly. I know the first year I was on the school board, I had sort of a terror-filled moment when the first day of school kicked off. I was sure my inbox was going to overflow and it was just going to be phone calls. And I was really shocked when I didn't get that big flow of emails and phone calls. And over the years, when I greet people on the streets, they look at me with that look like it must be just chaotic and a disaster when you start the school year. Not with the leadership we have here, not with the organization, not with the complex way of setting up and scheduling things. It's a pleasure to have witnessed all of the fantastic work that goes on here. And if you ever want to know that it's happening, just watch the first day of school when 28,000 kids and families get in gear and the kids get on the bus and they get home, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. So thank you, everybody.
Well, Mr. Stargell, I thank you very much, and forgive me, I almost made it through the agenda without skipping someone.
I've done that before.
That said, there's great things happening in Newport News Public School. So many a number, I'm just going to just say a few words. Newport News, we have this Virginia Index Performance, the education excellence for our two schools that we saw tonight. The clerical and transportation graduates. I thought we were graduating students. Or we're graduating our employees here.
That's right.
And that's different. We graduate everyone. We're preparing everyone to be college, career, and citizen ready, and school ready. $2.6 million additional dollars we're getting. We've got this new restoration practice. Wow, that's unheard of. That's just the name itself, They used to call what we call criminals or what we call jails, correctional facilities. They don't do that. That's what we're doing. Maybe they should change the name, right?
Yes.
Free flu shots for everyone. Okay. Ward defeats, what was it, Bethel?
That's the most publicity JV games ever got.
Again, I started school year, started just before September, where we attended the new teachers breakfast. I think we welcomed 229 new students. We had, which is wonderful. Thank you to the staff, Mrs. Gerald and the staff at Heritage High School for doing that to us. Again, we've attended many schools this first day of school. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to those students over at CNU, Christopher Newport University. They are at our schools in numbers, high-fiving, cheerleaders, basketball teams, lacrosse teams, soccer teams, track and field teams. It is absolutely wonderful that we have this partnership with the university right next door to some of our schools. And so a special thanks to all those students there, and hopefully some of those students will be employees of Newport News Public Schools. I had an opportunity to attend the groundbreaking ceremony for the first building at the Tech Center, where we're looking forward to collaborating with this high-tech businesses that will launch and grow there, so that our students will have access to internships and other works-based learning experience to advance their career and their goals here. So we're looking forward to all these new jobs. We are planting we're planting the seeds. So Newport News is the place to be. And last but not least, as John stated before, I did have an opportunity to participate as each year in the Southeastern Community Day and Denby Days Parade. And we've seen all the folks screaming, and if there are any dentists in the house, we threw lots of candy out on the street. Other than that, I'm looking forward to a fantastic year this year. And with the team led by our wonderful school superintendent and her staff, all the teachers, the custodians, the bus drivers, the professional school counselors. I got it right this time. And another special thanks to one of our audience, all the young people that are still here, please stand up. Our scouts, and I want to thank you. Thank you for being here and enduring this type of meeting. It's welcome, it's a blessing. I know you guys are doing the right thing. One day you may be sitting in this seat up here. So thank you very much for being here and attending our school board. And one special thanks, thank you very much. One special thanks to, there's a disclaimer, I'm a part of this group, Community Nights. If Jennifer Brown could stand up. The Community Nights organization supports all the schools in the area. We've given out somewhere in the area to our schools here in Hampton and in Newport News, somewhere near about $300,000, $400,000 in the last 4 years in support of our schools. So thank you very much for your contribution, your support. That said, I want to thank you to all the individuals who came up, Thank you for staying with us. We heard you. We will go to that website and I will check it out. Other than that, if there's nothing else, I call this meeting adjourned. Have a good evening.